The next summer when I was 10, Jamie was having his 9th birthday party on Labor Day weekend. On any of our birthdays, there were always kids throwing a ball in the yard or playing a game in the quiet streets. We had the run of the neighborhood, and as soon as we got home from school, we'd all be outside doing things all over the place. Back then, parents never had to worry about where their children were. Today's dangers didn't seem to lurk around every corner. At Jamie's party, we were playing football on the front lawn when suddenly we heard from down the street what sounded like a megaphone. Soon we could make out the words, "Cheer, cheer, cheer's here." Everyone stopped playing and stared. Then in the distance, we saw a funny-looking car with a loudspeaker on the roof driving slowly down 3rd Street like the Pied Piper of Hamelin on wheels, followed by all the kids in the neighborhood. Oh my God, I thought, he's here. It's the Cheerman. And it was true. The car was a few blocks away, but I was absolutely certain it wouldn't stop until it got in front of my house. I didn't waste a second. I ran inside to get my sign. All the other kids who knew the story followed me. Everyone grabbed for my mother's cheer box, and powder flew all over the place. A couple of kids wrote cheer on scraps of notebook paper. They're reasonable facsimiles. I grabbed my sign from the closet and rushed out on my front porch to see the Cheerman pull up and stop directly in front of my house. I thought, he's really here. As the Cheerman got out of his car, I proudly held my sign high over my head. My heart was beating so hard I thought my chest would burst. Among a yard full of kids screaming for his attention, he spotted the giant colored cheer sign that I'd worked so hard to make. He walked over and with a big grin said, "You get the $10. My parents were amazed, but in profoundly different ways. My father stood there agog, not quite believing his eyes, but happy for me. And my mother had a huge, loving smile on her face. Until then, Sammy's cheer sign had been a joke, and I was just this precocious bookworm of a kid who believed in the oddest things, like, for instance, that anything can happen if you just believe hard enough. When the Cheerman handed me the check for $10, my father said, "How is this possible? How is it that you would come to this tiny town in this obscure part of Mississippi?" The Cheerman said, "Well, it's really very interesting. We have this thing called a computer." None of us knew anything about computers except for the room-sized behemoths with flashing lights that made whirring and beeping noises in science fiction movies. He went on. The names of every registered voter in every county and every state in these United States were put into that computer. The computer picked 2 random addresses in every county and every state. 405 South 3rd Street in Amory was one of the 2 chosen in Monroe County, Mississippi, and it's just taken us this long to get down here. Then he got back in his car and drove off. I immediately rushed to the Security Bank of Amory, cashed the check, which was made out to resident of 405 South 3rd Street, Amory, Mississippi, and bought 3 model airplanes, glue, and paint. I spent all of Labor Day weekend building those planes. Then I hung them from my ceiling and put them on the shelves in my room. Of course, today I wish my parents had just given me the $10 in cash and let me frame that check for posterity. When the Cheerman came to my hometown, just like the commercial had promised, I learned a very valuable lesson about the power of believing in a dream, no matter how impossible it seems. Anything is possible. Everything my mother taught me, and everything that I promised to always strive for, is built on the idea that you should never give up on your dreams. And if your dreams come true, it just confirms and strengthens your faith for the next one. I'm not saying that faith alone can make a dream come true. Faith isn't a magical power, and there are no guarantees in life. But think of it this way. If you had to choose between feeling positive or negative, which is the more attractive choice? I'd rather feel good and work for the best result in something than be cynical, and if my dream still happened to come true, shrug my shoulders and think I just got lucky that one time. And if my dream didn't come true, rather than give up, I'd want to find the strength to move on to the next dream. I guess what I'm saying is that faith, call it a souped-up version of the power of positive thinking, is its own reward. Believing that anything can happen is a forward-thinking mental state. It feels good. Then, as with a stone tossed into a pond, the ripple effect of your attitude not only radiates into the world, but it attracts like-minded people who help you achieve your dreams, as well as those who want to feel as good as you do. You are what you do. When a situation can go either way, having faith might just be that little bit of extra focus and energy and action it takes to make your dream come true. My mother demonstrated this faith every day in ways both large and small. When I was a boy, Whenever we'd see a penny on the street, she'd say, "See a penny, pick it up, and all the day you'll have good luck." It may seem corny, but it's a perfect example of my mother's insistence on finding good everywhere. Since then, if I see a penny, I pick it up, and if I'm in the midst of a worrying situation, I say, "This is for that worry," and I believe that helps the worry go away. I pick up pennies everywhere. I will not pass one by. Well, I did once when I saw it in a urinal. I just couldn't do it. I've been in a full tuxedo in a rainstorm and have bent down to snatch one out of a gutter as water rushed over it. The penny is symbolic. It reminds me to never forget my mother, or that my journey started in Amory, Mississippi, where I was raised, and that it's always better to believe in a wonderful moment of luck than ignore it. I believed in the Cheerman, and he came. I was lucky because I got to experience firsthand the connection between faith and a positive outcome when I was still young enough for the moment to take deep root in me. It was as if someone had flipped on an inner light, and that light never went off. Today, I can't imagine feeling any other way. Had the Cheerman never come, though, I would simply have moved on to another dream. My mother would have made sure of that. As she often said, when God closes a door, He always opens a window. Fortunately, as my life went on, I was blessed with the success that came with so many of my dreams. I got to be who I wanted to be and not who others expected me to be, which meant moving to Los Angeles and working in show business, among other things. I married the woman I wanted to. I had 2 wonderful children to whom I can pass on lessons about the power of faith. Those were the big dreams. I also dreamed of winning the Good Citizenship Award in the 8th grade, of being Amory's youngest Eagle Scout, and of making the varsity football team in high school. I'll say it again, it always pays to believe that good things can happen. Because the Cheerman came to my house, I have to believe there's always hope. Today, I still have the determined optimism of a 10-year-old boy whose mother never said a word to dash or damage his dreams, and whose faith in me has become my faith in myself. Both allow me to walk just a little bit taller in life. In fact, the Cheerman has come for me many times since. He still comes. He can come for you too, if you just believe.